Hey, Tim, this is Danny Smith. Just calling to tell you how much I appreciate listening to your shows, Truckers' Voices. It's very informative. I really like hearing the drivers' stories, how they got into the trucking industry, and maybe what kind of trucks they started out with. And it's just been a lot of fun, and I would encourage any drivers out there to tune in and listen, call in, be a part of it. It's a great show.
Hey, this is Chuck Lopesiger, and I listen to Truckers' Voices every Thursday evening from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern on Facebook or YouTube with host Tim Taylor and co-host Steve Brand, because it keeps me informed about the industry and the drivers that keep our country moving forward. Don't forget, Thursday, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Be there.
Hi, this is Scott Post, and I love Truckers' Voices because there's always something entertaining and educational for our industry. And it's also hosted by two of my good friends, Tim Taylor and Steve Brad. Tune in tonight. And in the meantime, be safe out there.
Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? My name's Charlie Demchuk, and I'm here to welcome you to tonight's big show. Y'all sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Tim and Steve got a good one in store for you. So have a good night. We'll see you.
Hi, this is Tony Wainwright. I hope you enjoy listening to Truckers' Voices as much as I do. Now, without any further ado, kick back, kick your shoes off, air your corns out, and get ready to listen to another fine show.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing great this fine Thursday afternoon. Hey, we are back, and we are ready to go with another good show for you tonight. Hey, we're going to get into it a little bit later with a special guest coming on. But first of all, I want to say the views expressed on this show are those of the host and the guest only and do not reflect those of others, okay? So anyway, we'll be... glad to get you lined up here in just a little bit, but let me catch this call here. I think my guest is calling in. Hey, this is Truckers' Voices. Who do we have on the line here? Hey, Sam, can you just hold just a minute? We got the show we just now starting, so I'm going to put you on hold for a minute, and we'll be right back with you, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, so I'm going to bring the special guest, the special co-host on in here, and we're going to get into it here in just a minute with Mr. Sam Johnson. So let me bring old Steve in here. Let me get Steve's music, lined up right here. What do we bring Steve in on usually? Let's see. I don't know what we bring Steve in on. It's been so long. I can't see it here. Well. How about that? We'll bring Steve in on that horn there. Steve, what's going on, brother? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, Tim. How's everybody out there in podcast land doing? It's good,
man.
Man, we've had some. That's one advantage when you're not getting paid to do this. If you got something to do, you go do it.
That's right. That's right, Steve. That is right. Hey, man, I tell you what, I got a good show lined up. I got the guest holding on the line there. Anyway, I'm about ready to get the show started, man. But how you been doing, Steve?
I've been doing good, Tim. I've been just trucking every day. Took a little ride out to West Texas. Picked up a truck, carried it back down here to Louisville, Kentucky this week. Had a real good trip. Man, it's hot out there.
I guarantee you, man. I know it's hot out there for sure. For sure.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I've been doing real good, man. Ready to all excited, ready to get the guest on, meet them, see what's going on with them, and let's do what we got to do there, brother.
All right. Well, you know what? Let me bring the guest on in here, and we'll just get right to it, man. For some reason, my little sound effects, I can't get to the one that I wanted there, so we got to bring him in. You know, without the guest introduction tonight, as far as the music goes, there, right?
I hear you. I hear you.
But anyway, without further ado, everybody, we got a gentleman on here, and I'll tell you the backstory about how he got hooked up with us the other day, and we're gonna hear his story about how he got into trucking. But let me bring Sam on in here. Hey, Sam, we got you on the line still.
Yes, sir.
All right, Steve, can you hear Sam good?
Yeah, I can hear you. You might turn him up just a little bit.
I can turn him up. Sure can. All right, let's see here. How's that, Steve? Let's see. Go ahead and say something there, Sam.
How's it going, Steve?
It's going good, Sam. Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Pleasure to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on, my friend. I hope you're out there trucking safe. Hope everything's going good in all this lovely construction across this great country of ours.
Amen to that. Amen.
Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
Where are you calling from tonight? Where are you located at?
We running eastbound with the hammer down right around Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Come on.
Copied the Philly. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I talked to him.
The music.
That's where we need the music. I definitely need the music. We got something going on with a soundboard tonight, Sam, that I couldn't get my music on. I usually have introduction music for our guest, and it's usually the Rocky theme, but for some reason I can't find it right here for some reason.
That's okay. I understand. Tech difficulty.
Yep, you know how that goes. Technical difficulties for sure. But anyway, it's so good to have you on here, Sam. I've enjoyed talking to you, and I talked to you yesterday and first met you, and you was actually calling in to ask some stuff about Truckers Voices, and man, I just went ahead and said, hey, why don't you just come on and share your story with the listening audience there, and hey, here you are, and I'm so glad that you called in. Now, you're trucking. You're going to be up somewhere around New York tonight, correct?
Yes, sir. Long Island, New York City.
I got you. I got you. So, what kind of truck are you trucking in tonight, Sam?
I've got a 2021 Freightliner Cascadia, automatic, unfortunately.
I got you. Unfortunately, huh?
It is what it is.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you what. Now, I drive a automatic every day, and I've been trucking up for 30-something years now, and I've kind of gotten used to it. So I'm enjoying it here in my older age. There, just to be honest with you.
I mean, I understand that there's certain places that comes in handy, like, bumper to bumper on the GW Bridge in New York. Yeah, that automatic comes in handy. But if you're just doing coast to coast, 40 from North Carolina to California, come on, it don't hurt to drop a gear.
You got that right. Well, I'm going to let Steve talk to you there for a little bit, and then we'll get into your story there, okay?
Yeah, everybody's big on downplaying them automatics. I didn't think I'd like one, but I've been driving one for so long now. I'm used to it. The hardest thing with an automatic, and I don't know how your Freightliner is, but my KW is slow on the takeoff. That's the hardest part right there. Now, once it gets going, it ain't bad, but it's just slow on the takeoff. But I was watching some of your TikToks there the other night. Y'all staying pretty busy, it sounds like.
Yes, sir. I'm glad you looked me up there. Appreciate you taking the time to do that. But yeah, we stay pretty hammered pretty much every week. A lot of companies have trouble keeping you rolling, keeping miles under your belt. But the company I work for, we stay wide open 365 days a year.
Man, that's awesome. Now, do you guys run all lower 48 states, or are you kind of restricted to like the Midwest to the East Coast?
My company is a little more of a niche market. It's more of a regional route.
Okay.
I mainly stay between Nashville, to New York City. We do run a little bit of the New England states from time to time. And we've got maybe 2 drivers that stay specifically on Florida or Texas relay runs. But the majority of our fleet is Northeast regional.
Okay. So you do a lot of I-40, I-81, I-95, stuff like that?
Yes, yes, sir. That's my stomping grounds where I cut my teeth.
Cool. Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that, man. I mean, I did that years ago, and I mean, I'm Southeast Missouri. I live in the Buckeye State now, but that's where my wife's from. But I tell you what, when I first started trucking in 1989, going out to New York City, I seen stuff out there I never seen before. It's like, wow. And then I went to LA, and it's like, holy cow, all this traffic.
It is a whole different world up there, and you kind of have to drive differently in that area. You have to maybe talk a little differently, different slang terms for different areas and such and so forth. And
right,
it's different.
Right. Now,
very cool, and I wouldn't change it for nothing.
Right, exactly. Now, places that you go up, are you able to sleep in their parking lot, or do you got to stay outside the city and then go in early in the morning, or how's that work for you?
It depends on where you're going, and we're fortunate enough that we go to a lot of the same places. We get to know the customers, the receivers, and so each receiver is different. Some of them you can't even be anywhere near them. Some of them you can park on the street right outside the gate. We even have a few of them's phone numbers where we'll call them the night before, let them know we're coming. They'll come out and unlock the gate and let us come on inside overnight to try to avoid any trouble out on the streets.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't been out there in years, as far as delivering freight or picking up freight or anything. But I know the last time I went across the GW Bridge, I ended up going across it at 5 o'clock in the evening. No fault of mine, but I was a nervous wreck. Man, I was a nervous wreck. The truck I was driving, I'm like, get away from me. Get away from me. Don't do this to me. And then I watched the guy throw a $10 cup of coffee at another guy because he cut him off. And I thought, dude, really? $10 cup of coffee and you're going to throw it at him? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, $10 cup of coffee, Steve. That must have been Starbucks or something like that.
Yeah, it had to been. That's what it looked like, was a Starbucks cup. But, oh, man, I'm telling you. But all right. Well, let's get in and find out your story, my friend.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit. Tell us who you are, where you're from. You don't have to divulge who you drive for, but kind of tell us a little bit about how you got started into the trucking industry. Just tell us your story. That's what we want to hear.
Well, guys, the normal story would start out, where I got my CDL. But honestly, to tell you the truth, my story goes back years prior to that. The main, I'm not going to tell you my whole life story, but the main highlight is I got my first dump truck ride at 4 years old. My parents divorced, moved out by the interstate. My fascination grew with semis and, the sound of the Jake brakes going across the interstate. Oh, man, it's just so cool for a little kid, And at 10 years old, my mother decided it's time to introduce me to my cousin that I did not know existed. He was an owner-operator, had a 95 Peterbilt 379 18-speed pulling a reefer. Had a contract out of the cold storage in Laverne and Smyrna, Tennessee, going in a few drops over in the Carolinas. He decided when I turned 12, it was time for me to come along for a ride, see what he did every day. And I just absolutely fell in love with it and decided that's what I want to do with my life. So at 19, I took it upon myself to search the internet and found a recruiter. His name was Doug Shoemaker. Had a company called RC Grace and Associates. He told me, unfortunately, where I live in Northeast Tennessee, we were so close to Virginia and North Carolina that any company I wanted to work for would require me to cross state lines. And at that time, between the ages of 18 and 21, you were restricted to in-state only. So he basically told me there was nothing he could do for me but to keep his number and call him when I turned 21.
Right.
By the time I turned 21, I started working in a warehouse on an assembly line, and I had gotten real serious with this girl that I was seeing at the time. And I had totally forgotten about the trucking thing. It kind of fell by the wayside. Life happens. And we wound up going on this tubing trip, my girlfriend and I. I wound up getting sunburnt on my knees. Couldn't even wear pants for almost a week. Couldn't walk. It was excruciating. So I had to call into work. Wound up getting fired. Not much longer after that, my girlfriend and I split up, and I fell into a little bit of a depression and thought, you know, things are not going my way. I don't like this. And then it occurred to me, I was 21 now, and I still had that recruiter's phone number. So next thing you know, he hooks me up with a company called R.E. West out of Ashland City, Tennessee, just right outside of Nashville.
Right.
And it's about 110, 120 truck business. Signed a 6-month contract with them, wound up staying a year. And the way that company works is you do about 2 weeks of training on the yard, learning how to, you know, do the backing maneuvers, you know, your 90s, your alley docks and parallel parking and that sort of thing, just on their personal yard. And then after 2 weeks, they'll send you back home, go to your local DMV, apply for your full-blown CDL license, and then they bring you back to the yard and have you get in a truck with a trainer. Go over the road for about 3 weeks. I was lucky enough to be trained by a man named Mike Brown. He's at the time over a 30-year veteran of the road, former cattle hauler, real outlaw. And I had the privilege of learning from the best.
Right.
I worked for R.E. West for about a year, pulling water heaters out of A.O. Smith. And I want to say that I quit there to work local. I wanted to be my new girlfriend at the time. So I came off the road and worked for another company, Cherokee Distributing, hauling beer on single axle 40-foot side loads.
Right.
I ran a keg route. I had to, you know, deliver these half barrel kegs to restaurants and bars and everything. Real back-breaking work, but totally worth it. Loved it. Not to mention beer every once in a while. Just saying.
Yeah.
Part of the job.
There you
go. What's that?
I said, there you go. Yeah, that's a perk. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I love that job because every now and then you'd have to have a new keg and prime the line.
There you go.
Gather just a little bit of it in a plastic cup, meant to be poured down a sink or thrown away or disposed of. Hey, take a little taste test.
Well, you got to make sure that it didn't go flat in transit.
There you go. You get the drift.
Yeah, exactly.
I wound up losing that job just simply out of my own stupidity. Nothing bad, just disagreement with management, no big deal. So I moved along, wound up taking a pay cut in the process, but I got on with a local company called Thompson Metal Services out of Kingsport, Tennessee. I I had two trucks at my disposal, a roll-off and a lugger. Do you guys know what a lugger is?
No, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. For those that don't know, a lugger is, imagine a diamond plate flatbed
Okay.
with a boom arm. And this boom arm folds, has a bar going across with 4 chains dangling off of the bar.
Okay.
These 4 chains hook to the corners of a big metal bin, and it would pick that bin up off the ground, rotate it forward, and set it down on the back of the flatbed.
Okay. Okay. I got what you're talking about now.
Kind of similar to a roll-off, but yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat, actually.
Right.
Had some really nice trucks there, and I loved that job. Just all it was, it didn't pay enough, but it was the coolest job in the world. Because if you ever went to like what's that company called? If you ever go to like Salvation Army, get their roll-off bin, it was always filled with cool little metal trinkets.
Right.
Pepsi Cola, you get some big display racks, you know, and you could buy it back from Thompson for pretty much scrap metal weight.
Right.
So if you're a dumpster diver, that was the job to have. It was really cool.
I hear you.
I wound up quitting there simply because of money. It, $400 or $500 a week wasn't real good paying, but had really nice bosses, love them to death, and I'd work for them again in a heartbeat if they'd just give me a raise. That's all it was.
Right. Exactly.
But, I moved along, went to a company called Reeves Transportation. It does not exist anymore.
Right.
It's a 3-truck business hauling 48-foot straight bore tankers full of milk.
Okay.
Up at a dairy farm, take it to a processing plant.
Okay.
3 trucks, 2 drivers, and technically 3 drivers. We had a part-timer. That was a good job. It paid good, but it was a little more off the books, and the boss was not really reliable at paying you right, and there was a few other little disagreements. But overall, what pushed me out the door was the truck that I drove. It was a Kenworth T680 10-speed, but it was poorly maintained.
Right.
Hood 3 pieces held together with spit and baling wire, 1 eyeball out, hissing airlines, wouldn't pass an inspection to save its life.
Right.
I took it down on I-26 going in Asheville and lost my brakes.
Uh-oh.
Burn it up.
Okay.
I'm guessing about 110.
True.
Wow.
Lucky to be alive, and after that, I turned the keys in and said no more.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I definitely don't blame you for turning the keys in on that.
No, I drove one like that. It was
listeners.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
No, I was just relating to what she's talking about, that truck being bad. I pulled a flatbed for a guy who drove a cab over Freightliner, had about a 300-inch stretch wheelbase on it because we hauled I-beams out of Blytheville, Arkansas. And yeah, that truck needed some help. I had a block of wood that was holding in the left headlight on. It had the old round headlights. So if your headlight got out of adjustment, just go out there and pop your wood which way you need to go. But yeah, that was, it was one of them. Every time I leave, boss said, make sure you don't go around, go through the scales, go around the scales. Cause that lasted about 6 months. I said, I'm out of here. I said, this ain't good at all. So, go ahead, Sam.
So yeah, Sam, go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you're doing these days, and what kind of commodities are you hauling today?
Well, relating back to the beginning of my career, I'm back to hauling water heaters for A.O. Smith for a company called United Transportation Services out of Ashland City.
Mm-hmm.
We're only about a 20 truck business or so, 22, somewhere in there. Everybody knows everybody, a little Ma and Pa company, family owned. And like I said, we stay regional between Nashville up to the Northeast. We'd make about 6 round trips a month, about 3 every 2 weeks. We just have these alternating shifts, and generally we're home for 34-hour resets and then some, 10-hour breaks at the house, and occasionally, if you can't stay the night at the house, you can at least take a 30 at the house.
Right.
Because I live right in that happy medium to where from the house to Nashville and back, round trip, it's about 600 and some miles, one drive shift. Right. And then from the house to New York City is about 600 and something, one drive shift. So it's back and forth, easy.
Cool. So you're almost dedicated then.
Basically, yes, we are dedicated for A.O. Smith. Occasionally, we will pick up some backhauls coming back, just to help balance the books a little bit. But for the most part, we do good. Even if we deadhead all the way home, we can still turn a profit.
Right.
Nice run. Love it.
Exactly. Now, I've got a question. I want to go back to when you was 18 and you kind of give up on trucking. When you went a couple years with a girlfriend, you kind of give up on the trucking thing. That brings me to the question of the conversation that's been going on, and it's kind of been tabled a little bit now, but on the 18 to 20-year-old drivers, I was in the same boat that you was. I turned 18, got my chauffeur's license. Man, I am good to go. And I couldn't find anybody to hire me. I got to drive in a dump truck pulling a pup, running local for a little bit. Well, then his insurance come in, said he got to be 25. And so kind of where I'm going with this is, what's your take on giving that 18 to 20-year-old a chance in a truck to keep us from losing that driver, that him or her that wants to go trucking, but if they got to wait till they're 21, they kind of lose out. They kind of lose interest. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I sort of see both sides of the fence looking back, but hindsight's always 20/20. On one hand, you've got a young kid, 18 to 20-year-old, wanting to get into the industry but can't because of these DOT laws. But then you've got to take into consideration, well, these guys just got their regular driver's license maybe 2 years ago.
Right.
Well, they really don't have a lot of experience driving a car, much less an 18-wheeler.
Right.
So maybe it's for the best that they kept it at 20. But then on the other side of the fence, you've got to think, well, there's always been a shortage of drivers as long as I can remember. The old heads are retiring and are not being replaced at the same rate that they're retiring. So, by allowing that younger crowd to come in earlier to help fill those trucks, help fight that demand, economically speaking, it would make sense. And not to mention it would boost their career and fill their pockets that much sooner.
Right.
So perhaps it's a good thing.
So let me ask you this, Sam.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, let me ask you this question. So at 18, did you feel like you was ready to handle that commercial vehicle across state lines?
Well, the wild side of me that just wanted the freedom of the road says, yes, I was ready. But then the immature side of me that, I was still kind of hell on wheels at the time. I was, had a lead foot. And it took me a little while to mature and slow down a little bit and realize that maybe I wasn't ready at the time. Maybe there was a reason that I was not able to get in as soon as I wanted. maybe it was a good thing
So would
for
you?
me anyway.
So would you agree that 18 to 21-year-olds, if it's the right candidate, that they can cross state lines with the proper training and the certain amount of hours that they are required to be with a trainer or be with somebody, a mentor that's older than them, to kind of show them. You think that would be a good thing?
Very possibly, yes. It could be done because, some children mature faster than others. Maybe they've had more experience because mom and dad or grandpa or whoever has been teaching them since they were 10 or 12. Maybe they can already drive a stick shift. Maybe they can already back a trailer. Who knows? You just have to take it by case scenario. But generally speaking, I'd say, yeah, I think they could handle it. I think with the proper guidance, they could handle it.
I got you. Got to be the right candidate too, right?
Exactly. I mean, this job's not for everybody.
Right. But it is a job that we're missing a certain age group from high school to college, and we're missing that group right there. And they don't realize that, me personally, this is a skill. I mean, I wish it was classified as a skill, but this is a skill, and it is a skilled job. And, they can make a good living at it. And I don't think a lot of people understand that, you don't always have to be OTR. You can be regional. You can be local. I mean, you prove that. I mean, it's just whatever you want to. I mean, I encourage a lot of people to go out and get their CDL because they can make it what they want to make it for sure. Let me go ahead and transition into this question. So sounds like you're a pretty young guy. So how long have you been trucking?
8 years. I got my CDL at 21. I'm 29 now.
I got you. So can you see yourself ever doing anything else?
No, sir. I've actually thought about that before. If I were to choose another career, it would probably be running forklift in a warehouse because that made me happy too. But the road just calls my name. I have that need for the freedom of the road.
Yeah.
I like being on the move. I can't sit at home or I will get cabin fever.
I got you. Go ahead, Steve.
I can totally agree with that. You guys are going to laugh. Of course, I'm 56.
I laugh at you all the time anyway.
I know you laugh at me all the time, but Sam's going to get a kick out of this one. I mean, I am 56, so I'm not getting any younger. But if I was to give up trucking today, believe it or not, I'd actually be a DOT man. I would actually go behind the badge and be a DOT man because of what I see out here as far as
get out, Steve. You want to do what?
I want to be a DOT man.
He wants to be a
DOT man.
He wants to be a compliance officer.
Yes, sir. Be a compliance.
Wait. What? Now you're saying you're going to flip to the opposing side here?
Well, that's I don't know that's I've always wanted to drive a truck since the day I was born, and I've had a lot of fun in the last 35 years doing it. But if something would happen, I would go to the other side. Yeah, work scale house or something like that. I may not want to. I don't think I'd want to be out there on the road doing it, on the side of the interstate, stuff like that. But I would probably go to the DOT side, scale house, somewhere in there, something like that. Just because I know the knowledge on this side. I don't know, but
Well, I guess we know where Steve stands now. So
I'd be gentle.
Oh goodness! So hey, y'all watch out if you're coming through the state of Ohio, around Tip City, Ohio. Steve may be out there, with his little DOT card one day. That's funny, Steve. My
electric car. Is that what you're saying? My electric car?
Yeah, your electric car. But no, I mean, honestly, I thought about what I would do if I was in trucking. you know, I've always liked the education part of this, and so you know, I wouldn't mind being an instructor somewhere one day, teaching young folks how to drive. That would be what I would do if I ever retired, did it part time or something like that. So hey, that's not so far fetched and not so far fetched for my future there that I may do something part time like that when I retire in about 5 years.
We got him lost for words.
Well, have fun with that.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Well, Sam, in your 8 short years, how much of this great countryside have you got to endure?
Well, I wish I could say all 48, but I'd be lying to you if I said that. I've been as far north as New Hampshire, all the way down to Miami, Florida, across to El Paso, Texas. Been all over Michigan, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Missouri. That's about as far west as I've gone. Unfortunately, I've not seen the far west coast. I wish I could.
Right.
One day I will. It's on my bucket list.
Oh yeah, you'll get there.
You're not missing nothing.
No, not really, and especially in the wintertime. If you're going to go that way, don't do it in the wintertime. I mean, God bless them people out in that Northwest Territory and all that, and it's a special driver out there, special driver.
Oh man, I've been out as far as San Diego, and I wasn't there for 24 hours, turned around and got out of there for sure.
Well, truth be told, even though Sam's Gap is still a PTSD moment for me, even in a small car,
mm-hmm.
but that hasn't ruined me for all mountains. I want to go out west to experience the Grapevine, Cabbage Patch, what's that other good one? Wolf Creek Pass. I want to experience those grades.
Right. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been out through there a little bit, and I had a guy tell me a long time ago, he said, if you drive in the mountains east of the Mississippi, he said, the West Coast mountains are a piece of cake because they're a lot longer, and they tell you step by step. And the first time I did it, as long as you follow them signs, you got it made. I mean, it's actually harder to drive the West Virginia Turnpike and go off Sandstone and Fancy Gap and Mount Eagle and because they're a lot shorter. You ain't got the time here than what you do out there. And like you said, they're a lot longer, and just follow the signs. And man, it's a great thing, and beautiful country out there. Beautiful country. But you'll get out there someday, my friend.
For sure.
Oh yeah, one day. I mean, I'd to see maybe southern Canada a little bit, maybe up into the Alaskan haul roads, and maybe pull some out of the woods in Washington, and just to say that I've done it. Run the ice road one good time, just to say I did it.
Right. Now, you keep an eye on that. They ask for applicants to come out there and run. And I got a buddy of mine that quit where I'm working and actually moved to Alaska, built him a cabin, and his wife grew up out there. So when she retires back east here, they're actually going to move out there. But he's actually out there running the haul roads right now, working on the pipeline they're putting in. I think he works like 2 weeks on, a week off, or something like that. I'm not sure, but he hasn't done any of the serious ice road trucking yet. But he seems pretty happy out there. I don't know if I could take the cold.
Hey, that's great for him, but he's got some serious nerve though, because I wouldn't mind to run one load in the middle of the season when the ice is at its thickest, but at the very beginning and very end at its weakest points, I just don't know if I'd have the nerve.
Right,
sure.
exactly. I met Lisa Kelly at the truck show and talked to her, and she said it is nerve wracking.
Oh wow.
It's something you got to get accustomed to. And I mean, it's good conversation. She's the one who told me, she's fill out the application, come up here. Go up here. I said, I don't know if I could do that cold weather though. Whew. I can't take the cold.
I'd love to meet some of the celebrities like Lisa Kelly or better yet, Alex Debogorski. I really respect that man. But I did recently have a run-in at the Large Cars and Guitars 3 in Kodak, Tennessee. I got to meet Tony Justice. Shout out to Tony.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Tony. Tony, if you're listening, give me a call, brother. We need to get you on the show.
Hey, by the way,
That's right.
By the way, the picture that I've got on the screen tonight, that's Sam Johnson standing in front of Tony Justice's truck right there. So just for the listening audience. And what's the name of that truck there, Sam?
That is called Side Chick.
I got you. I thought that was your truck at first. I was like, "Wow, what a beautiful truck!" But no, that's Tony Justice's truck there. So tell us a little bit about where you see yourself at in 10 years.
Well, truth be told, it's just between me, you, and the fence post. Everybody listening, just shut your ears off for a second, but not really. I would like to maybe possibly buy my own tractor and be an owner operator, not leasing, just straight out purchase.
Right. Gotcha. Well, I tell you what. Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
I was getting ready to say before he even started talking, I said 10 years from now, that'll put him 18 years behind the wheel. He'll be well medicated, laying on a couch somewhere, telling his troubles to a doctor. Now he's telling me he wants to be an owner operator. I think you'll definitely be on a couch. I've never been an owner operator, but I've worked for owner operators, know a lot of owner operators. Just remember this, Sam, the way you make $1 million in trucking, you start with $2.
with $2 million, right?
Yeah, with $2 million, you start with $2. That's how you make $1 million. But no, man, that's a good dream. And if you could get hooked up with a good carrier, there's a lot of good carriers out there. Treat them right.
Well, my friends and I have sat and contemplated this on several occasions, and I believe that the best route would be to go out and purchase a used Freightliner Cascadia, within, say, 5-6 years old, maybe.
Right.
Not completely ragged out, but, decently, within decent mileage. Buy it straight out cash, and instead of going through brokers or load boards or what have you, cheap freight, you need to get hooked up with direct freight from a shipper. Get a contract.
Right.
That's where the money's at.
Yes, sir.
Just a nice thought, anyway.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Well, go ahead, Steve.
I was just going to say you got to have a game plan. It sounds like you've got a game plan. So now what you got to do is, tweak it a little bit here and there and make sure you got a little money sitting in the bank because, man, if something happens, you don't want to have to borrow money.
Well, I figure on having a maintenance account because, when you're buying a used vehicle of any kind, it's going to have issues. Doesn't matter how minor or major.
Yes,
but
sir.
I figure on what does a total end frame cost these days? About $20,000 roughly.
Yeah, I just listened to Dave Nemo's show the other day. They had the boys from Pittsburgh Power on there, and I believe he was talking right around 20 on an end frame. And then it goes up from there if you're going out of frame. In frame probably take you about a week. I think he was saying 7 to 10 days, something like that. And then if you do a total out of frame, that he said it's hard to put a daytime on that because you might run into need parts and stuff like that. But yeah, You drop a rear end or a transmission, there's 10 grand right there, if not more. You know. But
I figure on having at least 20 or 30 put back for maintenance, have maybe at least 3 months worth of diesel fuel saved up, and have enough set aside for your own wages for about 3 to 6 months, because when you deliver a load, you're not going to get paid right then and there that minute. There might be a little wait time, and in the meantime you're still burning diesel and you've not been reimbursed yet.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, Sam, we definitely appreciate you coming in and sharing your time with us. I was going to tell the listening audience that you reached out to me yesterday, and it was just off of a whim that I asked you if you would come on and share your story, and I'm sure glad that I did. I appreciate what you're doing, and I hope you stay safe out there. And but we're gonna let you go. We're gonna let you get on the truck there, and we're probably fixing to close the show out here in just a few minutes. But man, we sure appreciate you coming on the Truckers' Voices tonight.
Well, guys, I appreciate you having me. Y'all stay safe out there on those highways and byways.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Sam, we appreciate it. Appreciate you reaching out to Tim and coming on and telling your story. And we definitely need young drivers, talented drivers such as yourself. Because the old timers are getting out of it. And but we appreciate it, man. You stay safe out there. And I run up Pennsylvania 5 days a week, so I probably won't ever see you. But maybe someday, maybe I'll get down to Tony's show down there in East Tennessee sometime. I've been wanting to go to that.
Well, if you're ever down around East Tennessee, give me a shout. You got my number. We'll crack back a cold one. Come on.
Sounds good, buddy. You truck safe, all right now?
All right. Well, Sam, we'll be
stay safe, guys.
Yep.
Have a good day.
Don't be a stranger to the show. We'll have to get you to come back on one day, and you stay safe out there, man. And look out for those who aren't looking out for themselves, man. We'll see you next time.
Amen, brother. Take care.
Bye-bye. All right, there, Mr. Steve. That was an interesting call that we had from Sam Johnson there. I'm glad he called in and told us a little bit about his story. A little different format tonight than what we used to, as far as having an on the screen live guest. But hey, right. I'm just as good with this as I am somebody coming on live.
Well, see, and that goes out to those fine folks that listen to us. Do what Sam did. Give us a call. And then when you're available to come on, we'll put you on the show. I mean, that's what this show's about. We want to hear your story. And then whatever conversation reaches after that, well, it is what it is. But we want to hear your story. And I liked his story. And there again, you could talk about it any way you did. We touched on it a little bit, Tim, but that 18 to 20-year-old, see, we just about lost him. He just about gave up on trucking.
Right.
And that's what we need. We need them young men and women to come in here and be passionate about this job. Be safety conscious about this job. It's, you're running down the road in an 80,000-pound bomb. You could just tear up all kinds of stuff. You just don't want to do that. You got to have a little bit of common sense.
Right.
Slower's better. Slower's faster in a lot of ways. Really it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's like I was, saying there earlier, it's got to be the right person at the right time, in the right candidate and with the right training and right amount of hours, to get out there in that commercial vehicle and do what we do every day, with the experience that we got, Steve, and the many years that we've been on the road. We're still learning every day. I'm learning something new.
Yeah, I learn something new every day myself. It's like, okay, I kind of like that. Maybe I'll try that. And then I'm like, yeah, I don't like that at all. I ain't never trying that. So, but
right.
There's a lot of, it works both ways. There's a lot of folks that they're at a dead end job. Maybe their schooling's dead end, whatever. And they're like, I'll just go drive a truck. And it don't work out for them. They're not the fit that the trucking industry needs, and the trucking industry is not what they need. And then you've got some that never even thought about driving a truck, and they climb up in a truck, and man, it's a perfect fit. It's a perfect fit. But I'm just going to say this because I see it every day. I don't care if it's 2 wheels or 18 and everything in between. Plan your trip, get everything organized before you take off down the road. Don't be trying to do all this stuff going down the road.
Right.
I mean, we all think we can do it. We might get away with it a handful of times, but there's that one time and it just ain't going to work. And, I see people, like I said, 2 wheels to 18 wheels. They just, that distracted driving, man. We just got to drive that home. Distracted driving.
Yep. People are doing everything but driving this day and time,
Oh, exactly. And, I will say one thing, just dial us in at 9:00 tomorrow and just listen to us. You don't have to watch us, just listen to us.
There you go. I'll try to get it up there on the air and the link up there, and we'll go from there, so we'll see if we can get it up there at 9:00 tomorrow. But anyway, hey, I want to talk about something because there's a lot of companies out there that's been going through their so-called boot camps, getting their drivers ready for the National Truck Driving Championships.
Yes, sir.
I know we got a lot of those guys and gals that listen to us on here, and I just want to say congratulations to each one of them that's made it out of their state and headed to nationals. Man, I wish you all the best for sure.
Oh, definitely. It don't matter who you drive for, what name's on that ball cap you wear, or what name's on that uniform shirt. We're a brother and a sisterhood out here, and I root each and every one of you on. Congratulations to each and every one of you for putting forth the effort, winning your state. And, man, good luck to you. Good luck to you.
Right. And if anybody wants to call in, we're going to stay on the air for the next 5 minutes. If you want to call in, the number is 251-616-2151. That's 251-616-2151. But if not, we will end this show this time, Steve. But I will give about 5 minutes. How about that?
Sounds good to me. I'm sure we can come up with something for 5 minutes.
Well, the phone line's open now, so yeah, I'd like for somebody to call in, and if it's just calling in and saying, "Hey, I hate that show," or "I love that show," whatever you want to say, the floor is yours.
Now, wait a minute. I brought a feeling to work with me tonight, so don't step on it too hard. I forgot to leave it at home. So, how you guys doing down there? You guys busy? We're starting to pick up here just a little bit, I think.
Yeah, we're staying pretty steady. It's not, it's not great, not gangbusters, but we're staying steady.
Yeah, well, it's like, I was off first 3 days this week. I come back to work today, and my guy brought me 2 trailers, 38,000. I'm like, wait a minute now. Okay, I don't mind doing my fair share, but he said you're gonna love them. They ride good, they pull good, and he was right. They did ride smooth. They pulled good, straight. Man, my little girl, she just run right up a hill and did a good job. Of course, they tell us they got these trucks set up that if you got more weight, they pull better. Yeah, okay, maybe that does. Seemed like it did.
Yeah.
But, it's all good.
Well, this next week will be my last week on this little gravy run that I'm on, and then I'll be moving on back to the Montgomery meet. I'll be meeting Jackson, Mississippi over in Montgomery, Alabama. So going back over that way for a little while. I'll be running the first slot over there.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah,
I stayed up here on this Pocono run. I kept the second out. There's just too much construction going west. I mean, Indiana. Oh man, it sucks.
Yeah.
I went across there, the week of 4th of July. I went over to see my mama, and in my pickup truck. I mean, it's a wonder I didn't get pulled over. I mean, I was left, I was right, I was left, I was right. I was trying to dodge the bumps, and the potholes and the separation of the concrete and the asphalt, and it's like, good grief. But it's all good. It's all good.
I hear you, Steve. Well, it don't look like we're going to get any phone calls come in, but let's go ahead and end this show tonight, and we'll call it. But anyway, it's been a good show. It's been a while since we've been on the air. We were supposed to be on the air a couple of weeks ago with Ellen Voya from. She was the founder of Women in Trucking, but she had a medical emergency that day, and she had to cancel on us. But she is going to come back on the show here in a couple of weeks, and we'll put the advertisement out when that comes back. But that's going to be a good interview, and we got some more people that we're trying to get lined up here for the near future. So, hey, y'all want to keep your ears and eyes out, and we'll let y'all know who we're bringing on there. But, hey, if you've got a story about how you got into trucking, man, we'd like to hear from you. Yeah, just reach out to me or Steve. Let us know you want to come on the show. You can even do a phone call like we did tonight. You don't have to come live on there if you don't want to. You can just do it through a phone call. It don't matter to us, but we just want to hear your story, and you don't have to stay on the whole time. It can be just like for 30 minutes or so, but we just like to hear your story sometime.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And you don't have to be just a driver. If you're a dispatcher, you're a dock worker, you're somebody in safety, give us a call. Let us know what's your story. How'd you get into trucking?
Right.
We're good with that. That's what we do.
Well, Steve, we were just a little bit rusty tonight because we hadn't been on the air in a couple of weeks now, several weeks. But hey, we didn't have any technical issues. Everything went fine. So, hey, let's get right back at it, and we'll see everybody out here next week. What do you think about that?
Sounds good to me, man. I'm looking forward to it.
So, Steve, a word of encouragement and a word of safety before we leave.
I want you all to stay safe out there. Pay attention to what you're doing. Put that phone down. Put them other distractions down, because remember, the most important trip home.
All right, Steve-O. Well, hey, man, I tell you what, it's been a good show tonight, and I enjoyed it. I appreciate you, man. And you know what? Let's do this. Well, I don't have I wish I had my soundboard's not working like it's supposed to. I was going to, get us out of here with some hand claps, but that ain't going to work for me now. But hey, we will. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, y'all be safe out there tomorrow on the highways. It's Friday, as I always say. People's going to be traveling a little extra tomorrow and going to, to and fro. And school's back, Steve, almost in some places. So, hey, we got to watch out for those kiddos that's getting on those school buses,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So anyway, y'all be safe, and y'all look out for those who aren't looking out for themselves. Steve, I'll talk to you on the other side.
Bye, y'all. Be safe. God bless.